Hopefully I can take it further. I figured I'd record it. I'm already even working on it.
You already have people on. Okay.
I would have done. I told them I'm here at as early as 10, so that I might sometime be on like as early as 10:30, 10 o'clock, and then we can start like answering all those questions that take time during class. That's all. So I can start the camera. Okay.
Well, it's going.
Okay.
You've got Susan, Kay, and somebody else on. All right. So I'm just toggling to see what.
Yeah, that's fine. Oy. All right, we can talk about this stuff. Yeah, that's the biggest nightmare right there to deal with is the, I just got myself an arm thing like this, and I put it over my easel.
Yep.
Like this, and that's been okay so far, but not the best. It's hard to draw when I gotta kind of come in like this and not block the camera. It's been a pain in the butt. But that's just the human body trying to work around.
I did not do anything. Okay, why did this not? Did it unplug? Did you?
I haven't touched it. It is now spreading up. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Excellent, excellent. I got a couple of you on.
Can't see you though.
Yeah, I know. Trying to fix that now. Yeah, problem. I gotta get in there and draw.
Really need to. Let's extend this.
I see what you're gonna do. Then put it facing down. I've done that. I had it over my right shoulder when I originally started my YouTube channel, and that seemed to work better there. Because having it at this eye level makes it like really stretched up.
Mm-hmm. Is this a good height for you, or?
Yeah, that's fine. I use the easel to draw on. This is just for like my little explanations and stuff. I'll adjust that. That's not a big deal. Perfect.
Okay, you can toggle. It's recording. Go ahead.
It's recording. Good. I'll edit the whole thing at home. Thank you so much, Kim. Have an awesome day. All right.
Good morning, Robert. Morning.
Good morning. I got my 1, 2, 3 beautiful ladies. Everybody got the email, I hope, and very good. Okay. Now, technically, this doesn't start for another half hour, so.
Right.
I came in very early. They have this. If you happen to come to Punta Gorda, I left the window down in my truck on the back seat last year, and I had one of my drawing boards in the back seat there, a bunch of my drawings where I normally keep my supplies. Anyways, long story short, I left it about 2-inch crack. A huge storm came by and put water on my paper. Why do I tell you this? They have this hot press. You ever seen those sandwich machines, like panini makers?
Yep.
You know, it looks like that just on steroids. It's like literally like,
For linen. For linen.
say what?
For linen. For linen and sheets and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I don't know anything about linen, but anyways, the thing is like 18 by 24, huge. And I put the papers in it. I've been here for probably over an hour now, and I've been fixing the papers. So if you have water damage and you happen to be in the area, maybe you want, we can figure out something, we can fix it. Especially like when it rains and we're running through the rain trying to get to our car and things get wet. If you take a live class, one of the suggestions I tell my students is take a large, the thick, heavy duty garbage bags. That way your drawing board can fit inside and you can walk in and out of your car on a rainy day. It's like a dumb little thing, but it's a dumb little thing that'll save you a heck of a lot of work later, having to redo it because your drawing got completely ruined. So anyways, I've been doing that all morning, and I rescued a whole bunch of really good unused paper and a bunch of drawings that I started with Laura in the Matt Lachey and over here in Punta Gorda with my students. But let me turn off my headphones. I'm giving you a half an hour of Ennio Morricone, which is one of my favorite composers. I'm giving you time because I'm such a nice guy. Okay. So what I hope to do was
Susan has a question.
Yeah.
Susan has a question.
Yeah, what do you recommend for a drawing board?
I use, if I saw you live, I give you for I think it's 40, 50 bucks. I charge for a drawing board that's like 21 by 26. So it holds the larger professional type papers, like the ones that I use, and highly recommend to my students. And it also holds a smaller 18 by 24 easily. It's made out of masonite, or that's actually the brand. It's called hardboard. And it's, I'll just see if I can show you. I brought an extra one here. Let me hit the toggle. That's dark. Can you see that brown board there on your screen? That actually is a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet, like a piece of plywood. I don't buy anything thicker than 1/8 of an inch, 1/8. Okay. Let me show you how thick that is. You see that? The brown is all a big, thick layer of paper. This is the brown thing here. The reason is you'll just pay more for a heavier material for no reason. That would just be dumb. So don't like a 1/4 inch or anything like that. It's not necessary. Okay. So, and then I have it. You can have Lowe's or Home Depot cut them down. I have tools. So what I do is I do that for my students, and then I sell you a kit with the two sheets of Canson, the sketchbook, the pencil, the eraser. I give you the whole thing, so you don't ever have to go out and buy anything. And then I keep my my truck stocked with a whole bunch of stuff in case you want to buy it. Like I own several boards, and I recommend that to my students because maybe you're working on, say, white chalk on black paper, okay, and you put that, over in some corner, and then you want to start on oil painting, right? And so you tape it to your board. Say 2 small oil paintings, say 2 9x12s or 11x14. You put one here and then one next to it. You can tape it to the same board, and now you got 2 pieces going at the same time. And since oils dry slow, you should be working on multiple pieces, or you're going to be really bored in between drawing time. So I got probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 boards at a time with stuff going on them, and it just makes it easier for organization. And then I buy those big clips. Let me show you here. These big clips. I give you these too with the supply kit. So they're looking to push back. I believe that class here, for those of you that are interested in doing it live, I believe they might be pushing back the September date and doing it in October because of the whole coronavirus thing. So, we'll see. We'll see
What day of the week?
Say again?
What day of the week?
I don't know any exact dates.
Okay.
They're having meetings and stuff in the near future. We're gonna have like an instructor meeting and all that. So we'll
How
see.
much is your kit?
The kit's usually around 40 bucks, I believe it is, and it gives you everything. So if I see you live and you're interested in a kit, there you go. I hope you guys saw my video that I suggested on the supply kit, how to sharpen your pencil. Some of you emailed me. You were very happy to see how to sharpen your pencil and all of that stuff. Excellent. So Laura, hit your mute button because I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Really?
Yeah, I
What?
keep getting.
Your question first? Can I-
Yeah, go ahead. Unless you have a question, please go ahead.
Okay, sure. First, I wanted you to know that the old guy is Robert De Niro. You know that.
The old guy, what?
The old guy with the beard that we're doing is Robert De Niro. Did you know that?
The old guy that we were doing last week, you mean?
Yeah.
That's not Robert De Niro.
Yes, it is. I saw him in a movie and it's exactly him.
No, that's not. I know which picture you're talking about. That's not De Niro. This is just some homeless guy. Yeah.
I'll give you the name of the movie later on. I'll text you, I'll message you the name of the movie and you look at it and you see. The other thing I want to know is, are you going to be,
Yeah. But we got to gamble first. We got to put down some money because I'm not going to go through the trouble of disproving it if I'm not going to get something out of it because I know for a fact it's not him. I just want to know how much you're willing to bet so I can get something out of it. I just checked my wallet this morning, okay? And you've heard this before, Laura, because you know me for years. I look at it and I said, somebody's in my wallet. Because
it wasn't me.
it's a tri-fold, but you've been in there too. And I see that it wasn't folded the way I folded. And I said, someone has been in my wallet. I opened my wallet. Keep in mind, I have 2 daughters. So it's
I know.
chicks all the time. And a female dog. It's all chicks in my house. So I open it up. Guess what? I got a coupon for Burger King. That's it. I ain't got a single dollar in my damn. I was pissed off this morning. I was like, man, I had like $80. What the hell happened to my money? And nobody knows where my money went. Nobody knows what's going on. My wife's like, oh, I got to go to work. Bye. That's it. Then Dumb and Dumber got up and they don't know what I'm talking about. But
Right.
you know, suddenly they bought stuff at Kohl's with their mom over the weekend. So you figure that one out.
Okay. My other question is, are you going to be doing your pastel class?
I usually do the workshop. I don't know what. Yeah, I'm gonna try to see what I can do for you guys. I'm trying my absolute best. We're trying to work it out with the Vac because you know to use the same setup here. It's a great
Right,
setup. We have 4
right.
cameras. It's great. And
Right.
I thought about that over the weekend. You know, maybe I could do a workshop online or something. I don't know what's going on because they got bills to pay, and I don't know what people are willing to pay for being online, how many students and all this stuff. So there's a minimum of people that they have to have to
Right,
keep the lights on.
right. Okay. Remember that I already paid you $50. Remember that? First,
Yeah, that's right. You did, didn't you?
I did. I put $50 in your wallet.
You did. I know. You see, I told you went through my wallet. You see, you give yourself away, Mrs. De Niro. You just gave yourself away. But and that was that for the supply kit?
Yep.
Okay, that was for the supply kit. So I don't owe you anything
The
as far
supply
as
kit for the pastel.
yeah, for the workshop. The workshop.
Yeah.
And you got the supplies, right? You got all the stuff.
No, I don't have them. I don't have the
Well,
supply.
you don't have the supplies. I didn't give it
I
to you.
never got the supplies. No.
Okay. I
But I
will
would-
definitely make a
I would
kit.
really like to do, I'm letting you know that I'm one that would really like to do the workshop.
Yes, definitely. I know that was actually.
Well, that's the way I brought it up.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm glad you brought that up. I did not know that. When I
okay.
go home, I just forget. I'm glad you said that. Worst case scenario, I can get your money back. You know, I'll get $50 out of my wife's wallet this time.
No, I wanted to stay in your wallet so you'll think about the class.
It will stay in my wallet. I just told you a story about this morning. They took all my money. All my kids, they always take my money. I never have money. But anyways, thank you for telling me. I did not know that. I will definitely see what I can do. If not, I'll give you your supplies or I'll give you your money back, whatever it is you want.
Okay, okay,
Figure something out.
okay. Yep.
Okay, yes.
Now I'll mute myself.
What color paper should we use for this one?
It doesn't matter if you
No?
look at the papers that I use. Oh, that's dark.
Because I have some colored ones.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. For example, here's Moonstone, right?
I got some different shades.
And here is something called, the camera's blurry, but it's called sand. It's like a brownish color. Remember I showed it to you guys last week. It doesn't really technically matter what color it is. It just has to be middle value, okay? Middle value, all that means is that it's neither white nor black. It's something in the middle. So that brownish color called sand or the middle gray or the light gray or whatever, they're not going to be black where you won't see the charcoal, or white where you won't see the white charcoal, which you had a problem with last week because you were using like cream or some off-white color or something like that. So yeah, you need a middle value. Okay. So, and it could be any color. It doesn't really matter. So anyway, we're getting off track. I wanted to see.
The drawing.
Yeah.
I did.
Say again?
That's the drawing I finished, sort of. The guy. Can you
What
see
is?
it?
I don't see anything. I see your ceiling.
Oh, my ceiling.
Yeah, I see a doorway and a wall there.
How about that?
Nothing.
I see it.
You see it now?
I see it.
I see Laura, Susan, and I see Bethany's, let me see. Hold on. Oh, there we go.
Look at Kay.
Yeah,
That's
Kim
it.
came in to give me a hand. All right, excellent. That looks really good. Good job,
They
Kay.
want to see you.
I
Oh,
had
I was
trouble.
explaining about the whole paper
I
thing.
had trouble with the hair though, so I went back in with one of them erasers,
Yeah.
electric erasers, and did the hair. So I don't know if you have some other ideas how to do the hair.
The same thing I said last week on the hair. I use the little clicky eraser. They have basically the same type of eraser with a little like a AA battery little compartment, and it spins.
Yeah,
I have one of those. Yeah, there you go, like that. That one's actually nice and thin. You don't need that. You know, if you have it, you already spent the money on it, not a big deal. You know, that's fine. I don't have anything against it. It's basically laying down a foundation and then subtracting material. Okay. So good job, Laura. I'm looking at yours. That's looking nice. So it's basically practice. You know, you don't need to draw, by the way, an entire portrait to practice these things. You can just make like a little section on the corner of your paper there on your sketchbook.
Yeah, that's really good.
And just practice, put in, just layer it. Like basically what I did last week on the hair, on the beard and all that, is the exact same, and just practice. It's one of those things that it's kind of, it's not hard to do. It's really easy. It's a matter of you just practicing it and doing it over and over. Because I can only explain so much, and then it takes basically, you just got to go in and just jump right into it and just be like, hey, I get it now. And then you know that if you smudge over it with your little chamois or napkin or whatever, it pushes the hairs that you just erased out, pushes them back in. So it makes it like a hair that's not quite in highlight, but it's just underneath the highlighted stuff. And so you get this sense of layering on top of layer on top of layer. And so you do that 2 or 3 times, and it just looks like a thick, bushy beard. Okay? It takes time. Okay? It takes time. I'm working on some other videos. Did you guys see the Darth Vader one?
Yep.
Yeah, they were offering to buy it this morning when I came in. So that's pretty cool. I think I had that up for 15 minutes and somebody wants to purchase that. So that's always a good thing. But as I told you this morning, I'm not going to see any of that money, will I? You better believe I'm not going to see a dime.
Yes, wait a minute.
You muted yourself. You muted yourself. You're still muted, baby.
Okay, now I'm okay.
There you go.
The movie is called The Family, and you watch it, that picture is Robert De Niro.
The Family. I'm going to check it out.
I'll bet you $10.
Whoa!
I'll bet you $10.
Okay, we'll bet whatever you want. My 10 against your 100. How's that?
No.
Okay, your 10 against my 100. That's how confident I am. All right, so what I wanted to do was, I wanted to work on, let me see, I'm trying to toggle through this. I wanted to work on this guy. I kind of got behind answering questions and stuff, no big deal. Trying to organize this thing. It's very uncomfortable, as you can imagine, with the setup here, trying to get the camera and everything. I wanted to just work on this guy for you a little bit, okay? So I can hopefully take him a little bit further along. If I can, I might even finish him in a separate video that I'll make at home, okay? And put it on my YouTube channel for you guys, okay? Other people look at it going, what the hell is that? You guys will be like, oh yeah, that's that guy we started in class. And hopefully it'll be one more thing that you can look at.
It's Robert De Niro.
All right, so I'm not going to be able to draw the whole thing. This is obviously that would take a very long time. So what I'm going to do is And I got to figure out a way of setting up the cameras here to get more comfortable. I'm going to just start in on the highlight. I would recommend that you do the darks and finish the drawing and everything first, okay? But I'm trying to skip along to save as much time as humanly possible. Because I mean, a lot of this stuff is just repetitive, so you get it. All you got to do now is just go home and do it. So that's the beard. I'm just working out the shape of the beard. And somebody was getting a commission. That's why I sent out the one of you guys had emailed me. You were getting somebody wanted to know if they could do some work for them, and they had asked about prices, and that's what I came up with, that pricing little email I sent you. So I hope you guys like that. Okay, so let's say over here on this round dome that we call the forehead area, right? All form means, when you guys are watching all those videos that you pay all that money for on YouTube or however you watch it, form, when they're talking about form, basically making something go round, right? Making things look like it's round or spherical or ovalish or, or even squarish. It's basically talking about the form, the shape of that object. So you can tell that the forehead area, it's just a big round dome, right? Like a sphere. So there's a highlight right here on his head, and it's pretty much the brightest area. And that highlight kind of explodes outward, and it starts to diffuse and become weak and therefore darker as it goes away and reaches the other side of this little dome, okay, on the other side of his face. That's where you meet this area right here with this little middle tone gray, okay? So you don't want white from the same amount of white throughout the whole thing, or it's going to look like one big bright spot. The best way I can describe that is, I'll just draw like over here real quick. Imagine the target that we see in cartoons, right? What we used to call the able target, the alpha target in the Marine Corps. It's just, the little dot in the middle, and then those. Let me make sure it's a little bit. Can you guys even see that dot? Just give me a thumbs up. So let's just see a dot right there. And then imagine there's another circle and another circle and another circle, right? So it's, the typical, like what you see on a dartboard, right? And so it's just circle, 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 and it goes to the smallest circle in the middle. The middle would represent the brightest highlight. The outer circle, or just adjacent to the highlight, would be slightly darker. And then a little further away would be slightly darker. That's called diffusing, okay? So that's I just like giving that target, like the target symbol for the store target. It's like that. So let's go into how I would do that. So I determined that it's the brightest spot is right here. And sometimes I'll exaggerate and make the highlight slightly bigger or slightly smaller, whatever, depending on how I feel. He's got wrinkles in there. I'm going to just kind of ignore that for now, just to save time. I'm not pressing hard, okay? I never press hard. I always leave the pressure very, very light. That way I can definitely take the material off if I see I've made a mistake. That's probably the most important thing to remember. And so now I got that nice, bright, roundish, ovalish sort of shape right there on his forehead. Now into that, I'll just go right over it, and I'll just kind of go around the edges of it, putting in some more charcoal like so. And you can see how it starts to look like it's kind of doing that thing. And you just want to stay in the light area. Don't start putting white into the middle tone type area or the dark area. Don't get messy. Just concentrate. And I notice that I just use hash marks. I go across one way and then I go over it the other way. That's really it, right? Sometimes I might go into the little tight areas, the little circles and stuff, but essentially it's just cross hatching. That's basically all you need to do for shading. There's a lot of books out there being written about different ways of shading and all that. I just find that to be a bunch of nonsense, Yeah, you can shade a different ways, but then you're talking more about style than you are shading. Like stippling, you do little dots and all that. That's just a different way of doing this, of doing I consider that more of a drawing style. So you see what I did with my little stump? I blended it out, and now And the resolution on this camera isn't the greatest. I'm looking at the screen, it's okay. Now I'm gonna go back into the highlighted area and I'm gonna make sure I kind of emphasize that a little bit more by putting in more material. The stump will pick up some material and it'll stay on your stump. Remember, we want to make sure we segregate white and black and use the one that's accordingly, right? The one that you need for that area. If I'm doing bright highlights, I'm going to use my white side. If I was going to the dark shadows, I'd use the black side. Okay. Remember, don't just pick this thing up and use it without paying attention, or you're going to have all kinds of real nasty stuff show up. You're not going to like it. Okay. So there we go with that. I'll edit this thing and you guys all saw the videos I posted for our class. Awesome. I was happy to do that. It was nice to be able to stay up editing that thing. And my pencil, I think, is a little dirty because it's kind of giving me a little bit of a, let me reach out for my thing here. It's giving me a little bit of resistance. Could be just the paper got smudged and dirty. Yeah, I think it's just a paper. It's the same damn pencil. And so there's that.
Can I ask a question about this?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, please.
this guy has wrinkles in his forehead, which
Right.
are dark, and
Right.
you're also doing the highlight. Is it best to do the highlight first and then do the dark on top of it?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, I would, because you want to have that foundation of lights and darks first. Because then on top of this, you see I'm adding some shadow over here on this side and working them over towards the middle area and the light. Once I get that foundation in, then I can easily go into that with a dark charcoal and put in all those little wrinkles and stuff, okay? So I'll just do like one big wrinkle in the middle there, okay? And I'm not gonna try to be so anal trying to figure out, you know, exactly where those wrinkles are placed. Don't be that anal. Just remember that wrinkles follow the contour of the head, right? They go, you see how that wrinkle's doing this thing? I've seen people do wrinkles when I do these older guys with wrinkles. They'll go across it like this, real horizontal. And they're very straight. Even the angled ones, they'll do these straight lines. That's not very wrinkly, right? They take curves, they take a certain turn to them. They're not perfectly straight lines. And so into this wrinkles are basically little hills, right? This is the wrinkle line right here. And here's another wrinkle, right? And here's another wrinkle. And then the flesh wrinkle, and then the flesh. These little drops, they also basically absorb, they don't absorb, they are basically sunk into the skin. That's what looks dark, therefore look like wrinkles. So these areas right here, the little humps, I'm trying to draw a little thing on the side here. These little humps, right? It's like a side view of a giant picture of a wrinkle. These humps are what catches light. And so you got to treat the wrinkles, depending on how anal you want to be with the whole wrinkle thing, okay? Some people, they're like super hyper realistic and they want to go into all these little wrinkles, and that's fine if that's who you are. You want to be that realistic. Just know you're going to be there for a very long time. I just kind of suggested, and you see I just put in some material, and then on top of that wrinkle, that one's kind of the one I'm looking at, is kind of like the lower one, looks a little fat. Let me get my other pencil. Look at a little fat, so I can do this, add a little bit more white. Like that. And you can see how the wrinkles also help to accentuate that face and to basically give you a sense of expression. Like his eyebrows are raised up, right? He's like, he's smiling, you know, he's some homeless guy from some website I found. And I guess he got money for his beer or whatever. And he's got that face where he's kind of like giving you a little bit of a smile. And so doing that, wrinkle following it like that, by this one over here, it kind of helps you to feel what he's feeling, to see what he's seeing. So that, and so now I want to make this a little rounder there. Be careful of the wrinkles in the light area, because as the dome part of his head goes upwards, right, and his hair is receding, it's getting more light, and the light is filling the wrinkles. And once they get full, they're just white. So I bet you if this guy was standing in front of us, he probably has more wrinkles up here in the highlighted area, but in the photo it just doesn't show up because it's closer to the sunlight or wherever this guy is at. And so they're being filled with light. And so you just see a big old mound of light there, a big old nothing. So I got a few emails. Somebody was asking me, what about, I typed in your channel on YouTube, Robert, where you posted the videos, but all I saw was the Darth Vader and some other one. Okay, once you go on YouTube, you got to type in Rob's art class, and then you click on, once you see on my page or whatever they call it, my channel, once you get on there, just click on videos, and then you'll see all the videos that I've posted up to now. And I believe there's like 14 or 15 videos, something like that, where I talk in very in-depth way, explaining tons and tons of stuff. And there's a couple that are speed videos where they're informative, but they're almost more entertainment-like. So you're gonna have a highlight area above the wrinkle if you want to get really anal with this. And then just below it is gonna be that dark turn, and it goes in, it's darker inside. That little cavern or crevice that we call a wrinkle. If it becomes a little too dark, okay, I'm gonna use the white side of my blender. You can pick up some of that white and kind of blend it into that charcoal, and it'll dull that charcoal down and give you a nice light gray. And just kind of dull this out a little bit. I want to make sure that everybody understands, oh, it's 11 o'clock. This wasn't official class. If you got here and you're like, oh man, what happened? I thought 11 o'clock was the time. You're good. I've been here for the last couple of hours. I had to take care of some stuff here. And I wanted to try to get a little bit further with this guy for you guys in the morning, for whoever wanted to log on early. Remember, I told you guys in an email last week. So I answered a bunch of really great questions. We disproved Laura's theory on this guy being Robert De Niro. Obviously, you shouldn't drink that much this early in the morning. It's not healthy. She thinks this is Robert De Niro. I'm going to make a lot of money because we bet some cash. And I feel bad.
No, you're not, Robert. I have a photo here. I'm looking for the photo of him, and it is him in the movie. And if you see the picture of him, you will see that it is him. My husband, he wrote me 10.
What's the movie? What's the movie?
Is The Family.
Okay.
All right, I'll look it up.
This is the picture from the movie.
That's one of them, but there's one, right, but there's one with him with a full beard.
That's not him. He's got brown eyes. This guy doesn't have brown eyes. Robert De Niro has real dark brown eyes.
I'm talking about the picture with a beard, the long beard. There's a picture of him with this beard. And I have a black and white photo, but if you look, see, I have this. And all the wrinkles are exactly the same. His nose, every single wrinkle on his face is the same.
Look, his eyes are different. Look at the eyes. He's got dark brown eyes, and this guy does not.
All I see is black and white.
His eyes are, you can tell they're not brown because there's some highlights. See how light his eyes are? That's not, it looks like him.
It doesn't look anything like him to me, but anyways, I'm letting you guys debate while I set my stuff ready here on the table. So I wanted to go over some real quick stuff. Remember, mute yourself when you're not. Look at that. Doesn't even look like it, Laura. You're insane. Make sure you mute yourself for the next few minutes. I'm going to go over the, what do you call this? The little sheets. Not all of them. I just brought out more like the important ones of the ones I emailed because I want to get through this so we can get going on the drawing. Okay. So there we go. We got Tuck on there. We did 8, 9, 10. We're missing Tuck. He's kind of logging in. There he is. And we're missing one more, but it's already past 11, so I'm going to get started. So I brought over some of the, what do you call it? Some of these sheets that I emailed you guys, okay? I didn't bring them all, like I said. I just brought the more pertinent ones. Let me kind of adjust this thing here. Just the ones that we really need to work on, or explain, I should say. So let's look at this one here. The one that looks like an egg with a bunch of lines on it, okay? This one, I call it general rules for human face, okay? Don't try to apply every single person you draw to this, okay? Hey, make sure you guys mute yourself because then I get all this weird feedback and I keep hearing all kinds of like voices. What happens is later on when I go to edit this thing, it'll jump to that person's face all of a sudden because it turns on the little cube. Yeah, if you can mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. Okay. There you go. All right, 821, 821, mute yourself, baby. You look good in the mornings. All right, here we go, Pat. You need to mute yourself, baby.
Well, I can't. I'm having problems locating that right now.
Hey, what's the mute button? What is it supposed to be? Can anybody tell me?
It's on the bottom left.
I don't have anything down there.
All right.
I don't have anything on the bottom left. There's usually something there, but today there isn't.
Robert, I
If you
think
go
you can
into
mute
the-
everybody. I think you can mute everyone, Robert.
I might be able to. I'm not sure how that works. Oh, here we go. There we go. There we go. Now oh, she's muted. I'm gonna unmute her real quick. Sorry about this, guys. Now I cannot unmute. All right. But I've known Pat for a long time, so being able to mute her is probably a good thing. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I can't figure out how to unmute. All right, I'm gonna get somebody in here in a second. All right, anyways, so back to this. So this is my little egg thing that I give you guys. This is like pretty much every art book out there is gonna have some sort of variation on this thing, okay? I drew this from my own mind. I actually learned this egg thing when I was 13 years old, okay? And so when I drew this, it was basically going back into my brain from my 13-year-old brain and draw this thing, okay? Why did I tell you that? Because I'm a little older than 13 years old now, even though I don't act that way. It's important that you learn this, okay? I don't want to make it feel like this is a class where, you know, it's all memorization. There's going to be a test at the end or anything like that, okay? There isn't. It's really important that you learn this if you want to get good at portraiture, because you'll start noticing a lot of these proportions in everyone you meet, black, white, tall, fat, whatever. You're going to see tons and tons of people that you'll now start seeing them differently after class. And so knowing this will prevent a lot of problems from happening, okay? They'll prevent a lot of proportional issues and, you know, all kinds of stuff. Just because you're like, you know, that just doesn't seem right. It's supposed to be about 5 eyes across. And when I look at my drawing, I only got 4 eyes across, right? And so that right there that should raise some flags, make you feel like, okay, there's something going on, okay? So that's very important that you try to take your time. You know, just put it on your lap. You know, you grab yourself a beer, you're watching TV, and you know, when commercials come up, look at it and try to memorize as much as you can of this stuff here. It's just really good. Plus, if you do my class more often in the future, like a few of you have been with me for years, you'll just learn over time. You'll just start getting it. Because I almost like a quiz in class in the sense that, I'll be drawing and I'll say, how many eyes across our way? How many eyes down to the nose? And blah, 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 to kind of make it fun and interesting, but also educational. Okay, the next one I want to go over is this thing, right? I want to make sure you guys understand this. What the heck is this? This was a real fast drawing I made in literally 30 seconds. I just did a profile and a front view of just some generic face. I just invented something. All these worms, I call them worms, ovals, whatever, on this face. All this means that those are the typically highest, brightest spots on the face. Another thing that you should try to do your best to memorize as much as you can. Why? Because when you run into an issue where you're looking at a drawing of yours and you're comparing it to the photograph, or if you're using a live model, you're looking at the model, you're trying to determine what, what's what and what goes where, what's brighter than what. It's the stuff that sticks out of your face, right? Like the nose, your eyebrow ridge, the top center of your forehead, the muzzle area adjacent to your lips, right there, the tip of your nose, and of course your cheek area. Those are the parts of your skull that sticks out the most, and right, they curve around, and so they catch much more light. So all this is just a little diagram I drew up for my students, so they kind of have like a go-to source as to where you typically see the brightest spots. Now, of course, that depends on the lighting situation and other things, so that varies. But now you know what that is. Here are my drawing rule, I guess you could say, just broken down into 6 easy to follow steps. So class ends next week. It's our last class. And I know you're going to miss me. I'm going to miss you guys. And you're thinking, man, I wish I could see my buddy Rob more often. Because I just 4 weeks of this is just not enough. And it isn't. Trust me. Normally I do 12 weeks. So what do? Right? This is me, okay, in your head in 6 easy steps. So number 1, determine the longest dimension. Basically, that means I'm looking at a bottle of wine, right? And when I look at that bottle of wine, I notice it's taller than it is wide, right? Because bottle wines are tall and they're kind of narrow. So then that tells me, number 2, orientate my paper in the same direction as that longest dimension. That means I'm going to take my paper, right, which are usually rectangular. I'm drawing a bottle of wine. Here's my paper. I'm going to turn it vertical, just like my bottle of wine. And that goes into compositional rules and all that stuff that I would have to take forever to explain. But in just that one little rule, I just gave you a bunch of compositional stuff that'll save your butt down the road, okay? So I align my paper the same way that my main subject is, which is vertical. Now my paper is vertical. I cut up the longest dimension. In other words, from the top to bottom of that bottle, I draw the top and bottom of my paper. I draw here, and then I cut it up. Where's the label at? Where's the neck end and the body begin, etc. Sounding familiar? It should. That's the same thing we do on the face, right? Where's the hairline? Where's the eye line? Where's the nose line, etc., from top to bottom. The number 4 says get the next dimension. We already worked with the longest. In this example, the tallest, right? Just like in a portrait. Now we need to know accurately how wide. This is one dimension, top to bottom. Now left to right. How do we do that? Well, we do comparative measurements. We go over to our photograph and we say, oh, it's this big on the photograph, right? And then on the photograph, I say that width is equivalent to that height, whatever that is, right? From the top of the label to the bottom of the bottle, whatever, or the eyebrow to the nose, or whatever it is, just like we've been doing. Then you go over your drawing, you find those 2 points, put them sideways, and there you go. Now you got an accurate depiction of what should be the width on your drawing. Number 5, cut up the second dimension. Just like we did from top to bottom and then cut up into little pieces. We now got the width. We cut that width into little pieces, right? From left to right. That would be the width of the eyes, the nose, the width of the mouth, whatever. Okay, if they're wearing, like my kids, they're wearing one of those, I forget what the heck they're called, like a hair tie or something like that. One of those bow things, on their head. How wide is that bow that's in the middle there, right? Versus its height. The 6th rule is add the shape of things. Once you got everything boxed up into little well, essentially being a portrait, a bunch of rectangles, right? For the eye, the nose, the mouth, etc. Then you go in there and you just start putting in the shape of the eye, the nose, whatever the shape is for that particular object, okay? That's what you got to do. And so that's my 6 easy steps. I know it's only been 3 weeks. Some of you are probably a little confused. Don't feel bad. That's a lot of people in the beginning. But this is basically my go-to sheet. This is something, if I were you, I'd staple this to the inside of my sketchbook, okay? Or pin it against my, the top of my drawing board or something. And I would just take this everywhere I go when I'm gonna draw, because I follow this for everything. When I teach figure drawing in this class, I usually will teach figure and all kinds of stuff, included with portrait. I follow the exact same things. We do at least one still life, and we do the exact same steps for still life. Now, I just told you I'm doing a portrait, which is the headshot, to a figure, so head to toe, to a still life, which is just a bunch of random junk on a table, right? And yet I'm using the same rules to get all that done. No time am I even saying, oh, this is how you draw a foot, but this is how you draw a hand, and there's a different way for drawing a head. It's all done with these same exact rules. Okay, big money saver for you. I shouldn't say that. I could probably sell a bunch of books writing how to draw sheep, how to draw cows, how to draw dogs. It's pretty stupid. They're all drawn the same way. And these are just some printouts of that Da Vinci thing that I sent you guys. I did not write the article. I want to be clear on that. I found it online. I thought, wow, what a great article. And I love articles like that. I like history. I like art history. And I just want to show you, I blew up some of the pictures. If you notice here on this one, look at all these lines. He's got letters and all kinds of weird cryptic crap. They're basically telling you the exact same thing that you do in class. There's the hairline, right? There's the top of the head. There's the chin. There's the mouth line. There's the bottom of the nose, the eye line, the top of the eyebrows, the little wrinkle, the bag underneath the wrinkle, which is usually halfway between the bottom of the nose and the top of the eyebrow. And when you look at those 2 points, the very middle of those 2 points is the bottom of the bags under your eyes. See that? This guy was doing this 550 years ago, and now you're doing it in 2020 with some jackass born in Cuba and a big mouth. How cool is that? I think that's pretty cool. You're learning the same thing that Michelangelo, Da Vinci, and all those great masters, they all did this. I love Da Vinci because he was basically just crazy about having a sketchbook, and he would fill it with tons of information. So I wanted to show you so you don't think this is just some weird concoction I came up with overnight and I said, oh, I want to teach drawing this way. This has all been established literally since the Renaissance, even before that, okay? Here's another example. Same old man, but different points. And then he even had, on the first one I showed you, he even had like an angle line where he does almost like an X, and they go to the jowls or the bottom of the jaw there, top of the nose or the bottom of the lip, whatever. But they basically, what you guys are learning right now on this thing is so cool because you can show this to your friends and actually explain in a logical manner what they're seeing. How many people could look at this and understand what any of this stuff means? Not too many. Even some artists wouldn't understand this because they don't know what they don't understand that that's how you draw. Same thing. Here's another one, different guy. He's got some other sketches. Same thing. He's trying to get all the proportions done on his face, in the profile. And here's the last one, right? Pretty much the same points of interest, right? Top of the eyebrows, eye line, nose, mouth, etc. So I brought that in because I thought I found that really interesting and I wanted you guys to see that. Okay, so here's another thing I want to show you guys. Hello. Here we go. It's kind of dark and I don't know why, but I'm going to get up and I'm just going to move some of these pictures. I try my best in my regular class to do a whole variety of things. It's not just doing a portrait. Sometimes we'll do a portrait on different colored paper. And so let me show you some of the samples I brought in. I hope everybody can hear me. Here's Darth Vader. All right, I got a ding-a-ling on my computer. I don't know what that means. All right, I don't know what, making some noise there. Hold on. Hey, do I hit dismiss on this little thing?
Just hit dismiss, yep.
All right, cool. Thank you.
I heard it come up, yep.
I'm not that dumb. All right. So here's Darth Vader. Okay, I just posted his video, I think a couple days ago. Okay, it's a little fast, quickie video. The original took close to 2 hours, and it's white chalk. It's the same charcoal white that comes in the kit that I've been using in class. It's the exact same thing, and you'll see in the video, it's that gray pencil. And I did this. I came in and they wanted to buy it from me, so I won't have this by the end of today. So there's Darth Vader. Let me move him over here. Here's another sample of some works that we did, one in Matlacha and one in Punta Gorda. I'm not very good about taking care of my work. You can see some smudges here. I'd have to erase it, but pretty beautiful, I think. I like this older lady, she got all these wrinkles. I took a lot more time with her, and you can see all the variation. Now remember that when you're doing white on black, the purpose of this is to practice using your white. So there is no black charcoal in here. The only way I use black is by not putting in white or erasing out the white for the wrinkles in the head, for example, using my little clicky eraser, okay? So that's the whole point of this exercise. It's to not use any black, only white, and try to get all the little gradations in the value in there, okay? So hopefully that helps you guys to understand better how the whole white thing works. And so here's another one that we did also in the fall. And again, 2 different locations, Matlacha and Cape Coral, or Punta Gorda. I can't remember which is which, but you can see everything is done. And if you were in my class, you know, it was done with just the white charcoal. But look at all the beautiful gradations that I have in the different tones of gray. I use a lot less white, and so a little less white on top of black is going to give you a dark gray. More white is a lighter gray. More white is a whiter gray, okay? And so on and so forth. And so you just play with it until you get a little bit more comfortable with it, okay? And you get different types. And you can look up on Google, put faces in low light, and you'll get different samples. Here's another example from another class. This one's gotten real dirty. And this guy's just barely coming out of the paper in the photograph. Looked like he was inside of a dark room or something. And there's that actor, I forget his name. But anyways, it's unfinished. But you get the idea. Here's just another example. I try to bring you stuff to see that you guys can enjoy and hopefully motivate yourself to try your own. And in the future, if they do classes in the fall, maybe we can do something like this in my regular 12-week class. This is one for my 12-week class where we did a large figure. This is a female, obviously, and she's leaning back with her hands on her waist. So you can see all the stuff we learn in class, right? How we separate the head and we look for all those destinations, right? Destination, I mean the mouth line, the nose line, the eye line, the eyebrow. And she's leaning back, and I talk about how I got that angle and da, da, da. And I like leaving it like this because it's a good tool to show you guys where the belly button is, the bottom of the breast, the nipple line. That one's kind of erased out a little bit. The edge of this breast, the edge of the hand and waist over there, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is basically what it will look like as we plan it out. Notice it has a structure, right? It looks like architect blueprints. Don't be impatient and get into maybe just a little tiny bit of the head and just go right into shading. What if you didn't do the rest of this right and it didn't fit in there? Now what? You just invested a whole bunch of time, and then you're trying to make things fit when they're not gonna, and you start deforming the body, and you're making all kinds of really ugly mistakes. So all your drawings, okay, it's gonna take a lot of patience. They should look like this in the beginning, whether it's just a portrait or a whole figure. Make sure you go far and take the whole structural part of it, right? The frame of the home, if this was a house. See how all this would be 2x4s. You got to go as far as you can so you know where things are going to be. And then here's another example. I'm going to leave that one for last. Here's a male. Here's a guy we did. So I was in a class with a bunch of women, and they're always complaining, how come you always bring naked girls? And they're always pretty naked girls. How come you don't bring any guys? And I said, oh, okay. So I made sure I brought in a guy the following week. And then I cut the picture off right where it matters most. I got a really good giggle on that one because they were pissed. But here's another example. This one's taking a little bit further along the shading and everything. I erased most of the lines, but this was done in class. You can still see some of the lines. And I was explaining a sphere and about lighting and everything else, what we went over this morning. So it's just another example of what we would be doing in my class. And then this is just an example of working, okay? Working on different colored papers, okay? Look at how different this looks. This is also the cancer. Let me see what the, I forget what the color is. I'll tell you what it's called. This one's called raspberry. They have another one called red or something red. I like this raspberry. I bought it just because you don't know until you know, right? So I bought orange, which I didn't bring in today. And orange is weird. It looks more flesh-like than any other color. And this red, being close to flesh in the sense that there's a lot of blood in us and everything else, gave me really cool, very warm effects. And so you can see how it changes the overall look. And so if you wanted a red background, you could just buy red paper and let that be the thing. You don't have to add pastel or whatever. And so you can add a little bit of a pizzazz, a little bit of something to it without not doing anything else by simply just changing the background color, okay, or the color of your paper. So this is just another example of that. All right, let me show you guys. So I hope you guys saw that and you heard everything. You guys heard everything I said? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, because I was behind the camera and I wasn't sure how my voice was sounding. Okay, so let me try this. Okay, so here's the sphere exercise. I believe I sent you this in an email. My paper got damaged because it got wet. Okay, no big deal. This is just playing around. I basically went online and I got a picture of a sphere. If you want a picture of a sphere, send me an email. Hey Rob, can you send me a picture of a sphere? I'll show you. I'll send you the same picture that I use for this. Okay. So I'm not going to be here all day with this. I just want to show you some examples. Here's a sphere with some actual use. So it's a sphere that I used, and I found a picture of an 8-ball, and I just kind of made up my own highlights and came up with this little 8-ball. It's not very clean, as you can imagine. The paper's rubbed together, so it's a little faded. I don't know how it shows on camera, but there's an 8-ball. And again, none of this has charcoal. Okay, this thing here. No charcoal. Okay, only white charcoal. Only the white charcoal. And you just go in and you just put it in and you layer it. You don't want to press hard. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos and people are like, oh yeah, you know, you put more pressure and this and that. That's just wrong. Okay, don't put pressure. Rather, do it in layers. Here's a portrait that I did. I don't even know where I got it, but you can see the hair puts down a shadow across her face, okay? That was less white, so I could get a darker gray, and then a little bit more white across the forehead there, and more white across the cheeks. And then you get this stripe effect where it looks a little darker coming across that. Pretty cool, huh? I did the sphere, the 8-ball, and this girl in one weekend. It wasn't very hard. Once you understand the concept of proportions and all that stuff, you can get through it very fast. And this is just a little eye demo I was doing. And then my daughter wanted me to show this, and she was drawing Darth Vader along with me that day, and she used a different picture of Darth Vader. So that's my baby. And she has her little signature that she tries to make it look like mine. And if I'm anything, I'm a dad. And that makes me the happiest in the whole universe. And I love showing you guys all that stuff. Wow, what a heartwarming bunch of crap this guy just said. All right.
Rob, hey, Robert.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you spraying that to keep it from being smudged, or what are you doing to keep it?
Great question. No, I don't spray. You can see over here where it got wet from the same incident where my water got in my car. And some of the white smudged off. The problem with spray fixatives, okay? The problem with spraying fixative, let me just tell you, there's two kinds. There's workable and final fixative. Workable fixative is meant to be worked on. And so you spray a little bit, right? All that stuff. And it's supposed to hold your material on there so it doesn't smudge too much. And then you work over it. Then there's final fixative. Final is I'm finally done. And then you spray that to just fix your material onto the paper. The problem with fixatives of any kind is they will dull your light colors. For example, if I were to, this has already been smudged like crazy, and there's a lot of white is actually missing from this. I don't know how it looks on camera to you, but looking at it up close, I remember it was a lot brighter than this. If I were to use fixative on this, a lot of those little subtle grays would be gone because the fixative darkens everything. If you use it on pastel, it'll darken everything. That's why a lot of artists, they're very hesitant to use fixative because of that, especially pastelists, because you'll be doing, your thing, and then you go and you spray some fixative, and then it becomes darker. So anything that's light is going to look darker. So if you've got something that is on a black paper and it's just a little bit of gray, that little bit of gray going darker is going to take it to what? Almost black. And so you're going to lose that. And so I normally don't spray fix. Okay, you can if you want, that's your business. I normally don't spray fix anything. If you really want to take care of it, you could put like a piece of paper over it like this or a napkin or something, and try not to let the lid, let me just close it. Try not to let the lid do this so it doesn't rub the pages together, okay? I don't make a big deal about it. To me, this is just garbage. This is just practice. It's just another page. I go like this, and I start a new one. And I start a new one. And I start a new one. And again, I keep starting a new one, not this one. I'm gonna frame this, this is for me, it's my baby. And then I just get to another, and I just start a new one. In other words, it's only a big deal if, if it's a big deal to you, like my daughter's drawing, it's a big deal to me because it's my daughter's. But if it's just practice kind of thing, and you're not going to sell it, and you don't see yourself framing it, it's just you were just practicing, I wouldn't worry about it.
So you use no fixatives on any type of drawing, or do you? I mean, the way that you save your picture from being smudged is to put glass on top of it. I'm just.
Yeah. You could. Let's say that you have a charcoal drawing or even a pastel, right? And it's a commission. Somebody's hiring you to do this for them, or it's for yourself and you really like it and you want to put it up on your wall. Then you're going to want to make sure you mat it, right? You guys know what matting is, right? And it's that thick, like cardboard material. That's usually, I suggest double matting, but you don't have to. The mat has a thickness about 1/16 of an inch. And that way you have a little bit of the space between the top of your paper and the glass. You never want your drawing to sit right on the glass, or it will, the static electricity will start pulling it onto the glass and get weird smudges, and it's going to look all funky, okay? So you have it matted, and then there'll be like basically an air gap. And you can also, on the inside edge, you can also put a little spacers in there too, to give it a little bit more space. And because it's under glass, it's protected, right? So you wouldn't need to do anything other than just hang it on your wall and you're good to go. Now, I draw probably about 100 different things a year, if not more. I can't mat and frame all that realistically. So do you want to use fixative? I suggest you try it. I would suggest vinyl fixative, and you'll see for yourself. Just stay about, 18 inches to 2 feet away and let the fog engulf it, and make sure you do that outside. I do it like in my lanai or like just inside my garage, because the wind will it'll take like 90% of that stuff and blow it away. So I just kind of step back into my garage with the door open, obviously, and that way the wind's not hitting me, and then I'll spray fix it like that. That's how I would do it. Okay, on occasion when I do spray fix, but usually probably 99% of what I do, I don't do anything. I don't spray fix it or any of that, okay? And again, if you're gonna put it under glass, even less reason to spray fix it, because it's gonna be protected by glass. And then you hang it on your wall and you look at it and admire it and move on. Did that answer your question, Tuck?
Perfect.
All right, buddy. That's a great question. I guess
I have a
that
question.
every year. People ask, suggest you just try it. Draw maybe just like a faded value kind of thing, you know, black to white, and just scribble and just doodle in your book or a page or something, and then spray fix it and see what happens. That's the best way to learn. You can take my word on it, but you know, maybe it bothers me and it doesn't bother you as much. Okay, so that's the best way. There's
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? Watercolor artists I know are doing a lot of either varnish or a wax application, so they don't have to frame them and mat them. Is there anything like that you can do with drawings?
There might be. I haven't looked into that, you know, but you know, technology is one of those things that move on an hourly basis, it seems like. So, you know, like you're telling, I didn't even know that. I don't do watercolor, so I didn't even know that existed for watercolors. So that's a great question. I don't know. Maybe there is somebody out there. I heard of one. I don't remember the name of the company, but one of my students said that they found some sort of a fixative that that didn't darken your drawings. I don't remember what it is. It's probably very expensive. Again, I don't worry about it because if I'm not framing it, it's just another one in the pile. If I am going to frame it, then I don't have to worry about it because the frame and the matting and everything is going to take care of it for me. So I don't have to spray fix because of that. Okay, so another point I want to bring up is if you're not sure about the colors that Canson makes, and they're the brand that I use the most, you can look online. One of my students brought me one and she got it online, I think from the Canson company. It's like a little booklet about, I don't know, 2.5 inches tall by about 10 inches long. And it's a little sample booklet of all their colored sheets. Okay? And so you can look up that little, their website, Canson's website, and see if you can get yourself, and I believe you get it for free. So they want you to have it so you can order what you want. And then you can just get a corner of one of those little strips and try some charcoal, white and black, and kind of practice and see what you like, right? Because I say orange and I love it. You buy orange, but you got to buy a pack of 10 and you freaking hate it. Now you hate me and your paper, right? Because you're like, why did this guy tell me that? I hate orange or whatever. And so you could try it in your little strip and it's free, I believe. Okay, so I couldn't find it. I wanted to bring it in, but it's about yay long, about 12 inches long or so by about 2.5 inches tall. Just like a long skinny strip of paper samples from Canson.
Okay. Do you have the URL for that so that we could go online and request?
No, I do not, man. I'm sorry. I would say just type in Canson, C-A-N-S-O-N. That's the brand that I use. And you just check out their website. And again, my student brought it to me. I didn't even know those existed. And she gave me one because she's a nice lady. And she brought one for the whole class actually that day over in Punta Gorda.
Robert?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever take a charcoal drawing that you did and put it in a tube to mail it somewhere? Would you ever do that?
Yeah. The bigger the tube, the wider it is. Okay. The better.
Yeah.
So, you know, a tube that's like this is better than a tube that's like this. Because then it's too tight. But yeah, you can do a tube. I mailed a couple that was 2 drawings that they commissioned me to do, and I did the same large 19 by 25 paper, but then I cut it in half into 2 smaller size portraits, roughly 13 by
whatever
it was. Then I went to the UPS store and they had like a big like folder thing. It's like stiff cardboard, and I was able to fit it just in there, and it was just big enough to accept it. I had to trim the drawing down a little bit, but they were going to mat it and frame it and everything else, so it didn't matter. If it's bigger, I believe they have bigger, I call them folders of that really stiff cardboard, or you can just do the tube thing. The tube thing, just try to get the bigger size tube. That way
and if I do that, should I spray it or not? With Final Fix It? And put a layer of like tissue paper in there so it won't rub, or don't do that?
Yeah, I would probably put like a layer of like newsprint and cover
Okay.
the whole drawing with newsprint. Tape the top of your newsprint to the back of your
Okay.
drawing, not to the
Okay.
top of your drawing, because that can leave residue from the tape. So to
Okay.
the back of my drawing. And then you just put the newsprint, and then you could you can roll it up and do it that way.
Okay, okay. And I just have to say, Robert, that this is you know how long I've been taking your classes, and I've never actually drawn a charcoal on Canson paper before. I've always used Strathmore. There's a 99% difference. The Canson is so much better. Oh my God, like night and day. So I wouldn't waste my time, anybody, on the other papers. The Canson is absolutely the way to go. It just makes a huge difference in the way everything works, the way it blends, everything. That's my take on it. Okay. I had
Thank you. It is my favorite. I think it's a fantastic paper. I don't mind the Strathmore because it's cheaper. So it's cheaper for you guys to use that. So that's why I recommend it, but it's a little smoother. And what I like is that it forces you to learn pressure more than the Canson, because the Canson is more forgiving, and you guys have a problem with pressure a lot. So, all right, let's move on. So why don't we start with Susan? We'll do a quick critique, really super fast, quick, because I want to see if we can get started on the drawing today. We try to answer as much as we could. All right, go ahead, Susan. You're the first one on my screen here. Go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
All right. I ended up working on this picture of a friend of mine.
Okay.
Okay. And I didn't get very far with it.
Okay.
Um,
Now, what I wanted you guys to do was finish the old man, because there was a lot of stuff. That's why I wanted you guys to finish the old man.
yeah, I know. I didn't do it.
It's not a big
I'm a
deal. You do what you want to
bad
do.
student. But I did want to try. Actually, he's on the other side, but I didn't get very far with him either.
Oh, I see.
But I wanted to try her out. Now,
A nice small scale, like 11 by 14. Stick to a small scale, like 11 by 14 paper or 9 by 12. So that way it's not overwhelming, and try to get further, because that way you'll run into more of those problems, and then you'll have, hopefully in all the stuff that I sent you and taught you, you'll have the solution.
yeah, well, the material was helpful, and I actually find it easier to work bigger like this.
Yeah.
Because if I'm trying to work so small, I can't, it's hard for me to do little details like eyes and so on. But
Yeah.
I'm not very practiced in this,
Yeah, no worries.
process. And one question I do have has smile. And I have no idea how to do teeth.
No, that is really good. That's another great question. So in my class, you'll notice that, well, we've only done one person, but normally I do people that have serious faces with no expression and their mouth are closed. And the reason I do that is there's already enough complexity in this class. I don't want to make your life a living hell. And so I try to do simplified, like if you see on your camera, like this. Very serious, maybe somebody looking sideways or profile or something. But the reason is that way you can just worry about the basics. And in the beginning, it's just looking straight at you. And then later on, I'll do a 3/4 turn like that, and then a full profile like that. And that's what I normally do in the regular process of my regular class. So try to stick to just serious faces just to make your life a lot easier. Okay. And then you can explore expressions and, the cheek wrinkles and the wrinkles in the head and all this stuff that people frowning and everything else. Okay. So make your life easy and just do serious faces at first, just to get comfortable with the process. Okay. Great job. All right. Miss McLeod from the Clan McLeod. You got to unmute yourself. Okay. There you go. Wow. That's looking good. Very nice. You see how you're paying attention to all of your values there? You're seeing the shadows. You're seeing all the different values in the nose and around the eye. That's great. That's fantastic. You're starting to get it. Look at all those great little wrinkles she's got over on the on one of the eyes, or on both of them actually. Really good job. Good job. Lighten up a little bit on the pressure. Try not to have sharp edges along the shadow lines. Try to keep them faded. To me, it's hard to see because of the resolution. I'm assuming they look a little hard, but just remember that, okay? Good job.
Thanks.
All right, Miss Bethany Young. Forever Young. I never liked that song. Wow, look at that. Great job. I love the bushiness of his beard, his mustache area. That looks really, really nice. Great job, Bethany. The eyes look a little bit small for this size head. So I know you only had one class. You missed that first week. So there's going to be a spacing issue for you. There's a little bit too much flesh over here, right? And a little too much flesh in the middle. In other words, you squeezed the eyes a little too small, okay? How many eyes are we from flesh to flesh?
5.
5.
That's right. So we're roughly about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roughly, right? Usually the ones on the outside are 3/4 of an eye, not exactly 5. So there, your eyes look a little bit small, so they look a little bit almost Asian. They look a little tiny, okay?
Yeah.
But besides that, great job. The shading looks like you're doing a good job. You're starting to get the idea behind form and turning that, you know, that cheek right here where you did the shadows. Great, great job. Awesome. Awesome work. I hope those videos helped you, Bethany.
Oh, well, I got as far as the Darth Vader one. And then I was doing all the other stuff and then doing this. So I didn't actually get to the watching the videos, but I will.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot. So just whenever you get a chance, check them out. And this one I'm going to edit when we get home, and I'll post this on my channel, and you guys will have this week along with next week's. And then you can, anything you missed in class today, I mean, isn't this great because it's recorded? You can go back to it and then look at it and be like, what was he said about the pencil or the whatever? And you'll be able to do that. Okay, Miss Norma. Norma Jean Sass.
Okay.
And she's sassy because I've known her for a couple of years, so believe me, she's sassy. Oh, look at you. That is awesome. That is great. Good job. I don't know. Can you guys see that?
No.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Say something normal so that way they can see it.
Okay.
There it is. All right. That's looking great. Be careful with the forehead. It looks like it might be from the eyebrow to the hairline. It looks like it might be a little too large. It might need to come down just a tad, just a hair. And look for more on the gentleman's right side, what would be your left as you're looking at it.
Yes.
Where the shadow is. Darken a little bit more on the temple area and that cheek. It needs to be a little bit more grayer because you got a little. It's too much paper showing through. That's going to help that head to look round for you, Norma.
Okay.
Beyond that, look at that beautiful bushy mustache. You guys see that? That is amazing. And the mustache, or excuse me, the beard and hair along the right side of his face also needs to be a little darker. So I would just go in there and chamois in some dark over that. And that will help it to kind of push that area back a little bit and make the white of the front of it pop out more. Okay. A good way of doing that is putting your drawing a good 6 to 10 feet away from you, because then your brain can see more abstract shapes and you can see values better. Okay. And I do that often when I'm at home. At class, I can't do it, but at home, I look at it. Once my butt starts to hurt because I'm sitting in that chair, I know I've been there for too long. I tell my students to do, it's the ones I've done, it's worked and it's helped them a lot. Set an egg timer or the timer on your phone to 30 to 45 minutes, okay? And then you set that timer, and once it goes off, do a forced break. At the 30 or 45 minute mark, step back about 6 to 10 feet, get your cup of coffee, and just stare at it. You're looking at your drawing and at your photo next to each other, just like we're looking at Norma's, okay? And you just step back and just look at it. You can pick up a ton of information by simply drinking a cup of coffee about 6 to 10 feet away and just staring at your drawing. And you're like, what am I doing wrong, right? As far as spacing of the different elements of the face. And then you can say, okay, as far as values, I'm not, this looks really dark on the guy, and my drawing, it looks kind of light, or maybe I went too dark, or whatever the issue might be. And all you have to do is basically drink a cup of coffee and sit about 10 feet back. Okay, that distance is what gives us information. Okay, great job, Norma, as always.
Thank you.
You are the next victim.
Who?
Jen Goodell, 67. There we go. All right, look at you, Jenny, girl. Look at that. Good job. One of the things that I ask myself when I'm drawing a person, place, or thing, the number one question is that you should ask yourself as a student too is, does it look like whatever it is I'm drawing? Does it look like Uncle Bob? If the answer is yes, a resounding yes, wow, it looks just like it, great. Start a new one. If the answer is no, how much of a no is it? Is it no, not at all? Or does it look like Uncle Bob's brother? Does it look like Uncle Bob's cousin? Does it look like Uncle Bob's neighbor's cousin who you've never met? I mean, how far from the mark are you, right? So you got to ask yourself, if it looks exactly the way you wanted it to look, fantastic, awesome, move on to the next thing. If the answer is no, it doesn't look quite right, then you do the 10-foot back thing that I just explained, and you look at it and you say, well, what did I do wrong, right? And you check it out, and that's when you do all the spacing and you check all the different measurements. Great job. Love it. I think just like Norma's, I think, Jen, you need to put a little bit more darkness on the right side of his face, and then you need to work a little bit more on the highlights on the left forehead, like what I was doing this morning for you guys that showed up early. And again, on the bridge and on the tip of the nose, okay? And any of those wrinkles that you may want to accent, you just kind of put in some white over the part of the wrinkle that's showing, and then that wrinkle that's deep, cut in there. I don't have wrinkles because I'm just, here, I'll simulate one, right? But you see those wrinkles there. So you can see how there's a light spot on top, and then just underneath is the dark of the wrinkle, right? Beautiful. Great job, man. I'm really
Hey,
proud.
Robert, do you have a separate chamois for white?
You can. I usually will just turn my chamois to another side like this. Like, let me see if I should. Like you see, it's a little grayer. This is the one I use for the black, darker. I'll just turn it on the back side. But yeah, if you got a separate chamois, even better, even better.
Okay.
I usually don't have a lot of white that I have to chamois. Usually it's the black. So I don't usually use the chamois on the white, but you can. You know.
Okay.
His eyes remind me of like a cat's eyes. If you look at the pupil, it's got a little line in it.
Oh yeah, kind of a linear. Yeah, good call.
If those become circular, all of a sudden he's going to look a lot more like himself. Because right now the only thing that I see is the cat eyes.
Great comment by Tuck. You're right. They're kind of linear where you got the pupils. You want to make them a little bit rounder.
Rounder?
Yeah, a little bit rounder so they look more human-esque and not so cat-like. Awesome. Great job. Thank you so much, Tuck. Maxine, you are the next one on my hit list. Wow. Now, I met you, last year, I think it was, in the fall. And she didn't know how to draw, and she had like no drawing skills or practice in her life. And she came to me, and in a matter of like, I want to say like 2 months or something, she went from day to night, man. I mean, or from night to day. It was just amazing. And here's just another example of that. Fantastic, beautiful, beautiful work. The mustache area, be careful. You got it kind of a little dark, and it's kind of highlighting that it's a mustache, where really the darkest spot in the mustache is just underneath the nose. See how you got almost like a whole mustache shape going on that's dark? You don't want to do that. You want to just put the area under the nose. And then the adjacent area is going toward the corner of the mouth. It's a little lighter, okay? And again, same thing with you on the right side of his face, needs a little bit darker, and then work a little bit on the highlight for his forehead. Fantastic job, Maxine. Good job. Proud of you. And she got a different one. Yeah, what do you call it? Unmute yourself, because I couldn't hear what you said. You're still muted.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you tell who he is?
Yeah, he just passed away yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah, so I'm so happy.
Wow,
you.
that is awesome. That is really great. Watch his shoulder. You see the shoulder where it's coming off of his, yeah, you see where it's coming off of the side of his face? That one on his right shoulder looks a little too high.
Okay,
So double check where that is, okay? It's probably closer to like the mouth light area.
okay.
Excellent.
But everybody knew who it was, so I'm happy.
That's impressive. When people know who you're drawing, that's a testament to your work. Good job, Maxine.
Thank
All right,
you.
you're the next, buddy. There we go. All right, good job. So you still got a little bit of ways to go. It's looking a lot like him. Are your my techniques, are they helping you to come along? You know, all the stuff you've been learning in class? You gotta hit unmute. You gotta hit unmute. He's looking around. I don't know if he sees me or not. All right. Well, it looks good. It was hard to see because those the very light lines, but good job.
Sorry about that. I have multiple windows up.
I got you.
So the window that you said to unmute went away. I was like, where did it go? Yeah, I still I have been listening to you, so I didn't have a lot of time in on the drawing, but I was listening to your techniques, trying to follow yours. So
cool.
A lot of what's missing is that I've been listening, trying to make sure I'm doing what you follow your techniques, because I like it.
It's looking like the guy. I think you're doing a fantastic job. You're cutting it close to the top of your paper, I see. So
Yep. Yeah, I barely made it on the head at the top.
looking real good, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Miss Pat, try to unmute yourself now. You're next on the hit list. There we go. All right, here she goes. There we go. Oh, get the hell out of here. Look at that. Fantastic. Pat, I met her last year, and she's got just crazy mad skills.
We have a winner. We have a winner there, Rob.
Yeah, I think so, buddy. That is really nice. I met you at the at Matt Lachey. You were painting, I believe, and then I think you took my pastel workshop, I believe.
I took the morning class, remember? For
Morning class, that's right? Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was studio, and that's how I met her. And then I was doing a lot of just random teaching of drawing, and I think you've been able to improve your overall look. Your values are fantastic. See how she's got the right side of his face looking darker? Really great job. Underneath his left eye socket's nice and dark, right? And then she's got that beard looking really nice. Those white streaks showing. Really, really great job. I mean, just fantastic. And, you know, the great thing about class is that when you have someone like Pat and Norma and a couple of you that they're really getting it and that have been with me, in the case of Laura and Norma and some of the other students that are here today, even Annie, who I've known for a couple of years now. The thing about class that I think is makes it worth taking class, even when you're getting good, is the sense of, I don't want to disappoint Robert or the instructor or whoever, and you get kind of like homework, and so it keeps you working, because it's really, really easy to get lazy, right? Because you're all retired for the most part, well, except for Annie, she's like, 10 years old or whatever. But the rest of us, right, and me, but the rest of you are all retired, so it's easy to get up and, feed the dog and play in your garden and watch TV all day. It's that motivation to get your juices flowing, to get going on a drawing. That's a lot of work. It's almost as much work as the actual drawing itself, just getting to your chair and sitting there and doing this. So if you can, I will try my hardest to keep making these classes. If anything, look at my videos. Look at anybody's videos, okay? And you get motivated on staying with it and just keeping up your motivation, okay? So you can stay dedicated to practice. So great job. I can't say enough about it. Really, really just amazing work. Awesome. Awesome.
I love the working of the hair on this one. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. She has really, and you see when you put the time into the drawing, right? I didn't find the time. I've been doing all the projects, but you see how she darkened the hair and she was able to cut into it with the eraser, and then she went in with the white, and she kept it just white enough and just erased out enough that we see something similar to what is on the photograph. And that's something, you know, bizarre and unbelievable. Good job. All right.
Well, thanks.
Laura.
You know, I took, I just want to mention that I took your 2-day workshop when you worked with color, and that was really important.
That's right. Yeah, the pastel workshop. Laura was asking me about
Yeah.
that.
That was 2 days, wasn't it? Saturday,
Yeah, it
Sunday.
was a couple of days.
That
where
was
we,
good. That
some,
was definitely
portrait stuff.
worth it.
Yeah, your pastels, right? I mean, I know you're struggling on day one with the first one, and then you went right into the second one, and it just took it kind of like you're kind of working the cobwebs out. By the second one, it looked like a completely different person drew it. It was that much your work. I mean, I remember having that conversation with you. You were struggling. The paper was kicking your butt. You weren't real happy, and yeah, I could tell you weren't happy. And then you told me I'm not happy with it, and I'm like, okay, don't worry. Your second one will look better. And sure enough, the second one she did looked fantastic. I'm gonna see if I can work out a way with the Vac using this Zoom thing to do maybe the same workshop thing online. Okay.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, Laura's been asking me about it. I've had a couple of students email me. So as soon as I can get that, just keep watching your emails for me or for the Vac to email you. And we'll see if we can get something together.
I
Right.
second that, Robert. Would love to have that.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Laura. All right, Laura, you are next.
Okay. Here.
All right. Looking
There.
beautiful. Love the cowboy. The cowgirl looks awesome. And we got that
That's my granddaughter.
beautiful, pretty girl. Love it. I love the old man. Look at that beard. Now be careful with the overuse of white. Don't
Yeah.
when we have white hair or gray hair, a lot of times people will overly depend on the white pencil. Okay. Try to leave your white pencil only for the highlights, for those real bright hairs. And then use the erasing for the
White.
middle tone hairs, the ones that aren't black and dark, but the ones that aren't bright and highlighted, the middle area. That way you got kind of a yin and yang thing going, right? You got a real dark area.
Yeah.
Some bright highlights that will tend to come out. Okay. The iris is a little light colored. Okay. It's a little too light because those eyes are very recessed into his skull. And so the eyelids being thick and heavy will cast a shadow down. And so those highlights in the eyes, I would lose that and try to maybe use your stump and just gently put some material in there to kind of darken them down and dull them a little bit. Okay?
Okay.
A little bit. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent.
Are we going to work on the show you what we did for the other thing? For this? Are we going to show? This is what you said, work on something else?
Oh, right. Yeah. Work on something
This
else.
is what I worked on, my granddaughter.
The old man from last week, but yeah, you did two things. Even better. The more, the merrier. That's just looking great.
There.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
To get it there.
Did you ever bring her by class? Did I meet
Yeah,
her?
you've met her, but she's,
She was little back then. She was a lot younger.
yeah, she's 13 now.
Oh, wow. What a great age.
Yeah.
That's the, I told my kid when she turned 13, I told her what my dad told me. I said, you graduated to a 2x4. So go ahead and piss me off now. That was it. That was my dad told me on my 13th birthday. The end.
Wait. Nice.
He told me happy birthday in my entire life. He said,
Nice.
well, done. Piss me off now. That's it. That's my dad's version of birthday. All right, Annie, what's up, baby? Look at that beautiful Annie. Let's see what she's got. Look at that. Awesome. Awesome. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful hair. Look at all the detail on the left side of the hair. All those little cuts in there on the highlights for the hair. Good job, man. Looking real good. Now, again, you need a little bit more darks over on the right side of his face going into the right cheek, okay? When we don't have enough value transitions, okay, there's not enough variety in their values, things can look a little flat. Now, she's not really having that problem. I'm just making a statement in general so you guys learn. When our values are too close together, there are just too many of the same values, things will look flat instead of looking round and like coming off the paper. So we need to make sure we have enough of the darks and the mids and the lights and the stuff in between those, so we can definitely get at least, I'd say, shoot for 5 values. Okay, 5 different values. Say black, dark gray, gray, light gray, light, and then highlight. That's 6, I think. That's kind of like the mindset that I use when I'm trying to do all the highlights and the shading. Great job. Look at all those wrinkles, man. Wow. Good job. The forehead,
Thank you.
a little bit square, so it needs to
Yeah.
kind of come in the way his head is shaped, right around the outside of his eyes. It kind of dips in, and then the cheeks come out, and then comes out for the temple. You got a little bit too square, so it needs to kind of come out just a little bit. Minor little thing, but
Okay.
awesome. Awesome. That is like one of the most amazing students I've had, because she wasn't even an art student in college. She was a chemistry or whatever it was, and I'm like, wow. You're making all her friends look bad in the art department, right? All right. So let's get started with today's little adventure. Let's see. Let's see, one more. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a time. Maybe I can finish him at home, and I'll make a separate video of how I finished him. I did some of his forehead in today's morning class for those that showed up early, and we just went over some really good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Asian girl. I actually found her. This came from a student of mine who painted her. And she wanted to send me a picture of how good she's gotten. And by accident, I found, I think on Pinterest, I found the same girl just by pure accident. I don't know there. I want her to be, let's see which way would be more comfortable for you guys to see me. This. You know what? I'll just do this. I'll just do that. Okay, so you see, notice that there's a sticker on this side of the paper. That usually means it's the smoother side. Okay? Just a reminder, I like using the smoother side. You don't have to, but I like to. I think you can see that pretty well. Try not to hit this camera because the little leg is sticking out. Okay, so for this picture, I'm going to try to go a little bit faster on this one. I'm going to try to get where is the best angle for you guys to see this and where I can still work. I'm going to go a little faster with the with this picture, okay? So we don't waste too much time, but I want to kind of zip through it. You've already seen how things work, and it doesn't matter if I go a little too fast for you because it's recorded. You're going to get a recording of this, right? So you can always go back to whatever you missed. Okay, so she is oriented vertically. Therefore, I would orientate my paper. My paper would be this big, vertically. Now, I'm going to start deciding how big I want to draw her. Okay, and that's just a personal decision based on common sense. I'm going to draw her, say, let me see.
Robert, did we get a copy of this, an email of her?
Yep, I sent an email. I sent out like several emails a few days ago, about Monday or Wednesday, I can't remember. Last week.
I'm looking for it. I can't find it.
Look through your junk email, guys. If you ever, if I send you an email or anything, always check your junk email. Sometimes the VAC, me, whatever, businesses go to junk email. If you do not have it for some reason, I have no way of emailing it now. Maybe one of you guys could take her email and write it down and then send it to her if she can't find it. All right, I'm going to get started on this. Try to sort it out and just talk and just say, I don't have it. And maybe you can give your email if you won't mind. And so I can email you. So I'm going to decide to draw her from here.
I don't have her.
Here, you check your junk email? You sure? Because I sent that like days ago.
days ago.
Yeah, you got the other ones, right?
Yeah, I got the other one. They don't get it. I'm gonna look.
I sent out like 4 or 5 emails in one day. All right, make sure you guys get all your stuff. Remember I told you guys last week, we're gonna have work on a new drawing. So if it's Sunday and you don't see that you received a picture, right there, you need to email me so I know, because there's something wrong. Because then I can't help you here, you know what I mean? I have no way of emailing you. But if you write your email down big on a piece of scrap paper and hold it up to the camera, you know, like this, that way somebody can write it down and they can email you the picture while we get started. Okay, so that's gonna be the top and bottom of her head, right? So the top of her head, the chin. Here's this line, the top, and here's the chin. Now, I'm gonna start breaking down from top to bottom all the elements. Now, the typical things I look for are gonna be the hairline, the top of the eyebrows, the bottom of the nose, the eye line, skip that, and the mouth line. Okay, those are the typical things that I look for in a portrait. Now she's got a tiny little bit of an angle, right, where she's got her head tilted to her right slightly. So all the lines that I'm going to draw horizontally are all going to be angled down slightly, like this, just a little bit of a slant. So now, let's see if there's a halfway point, right? Usually halfway between the top and bottom of your head is your pupil line, right, your eye line. But that isn't always true. So from the chin to the eye line, it's that much. Hold it. I'm going to compare it from the eye line to the top of her head. And it's almost exactly the same. Close enough that I'm going to say it is.
Get it?
I'm going to my drawing, and I'm going to go into what I think is halfway, just to double check, make sure I didn't throw it off. And there it is. And so now I'm drawing the center line. So that's going to be I'm going to put EL, eye line. Okay. So did you find a picture?
No, I didn't, Robert. And I tried to hold her email and it puts it up there backwards.
Okay. Why don't you just say what your email is, if you don't mind, and then maybe
No.
one you could help her and send her an email with the picture, because somehow she didn't get it.
I appreciate it. It's L like Laura, D like Donald, Bestor, BES like Sam, TOR at yahoo.com. So ldbester@yahoo.com.
If anyone can please email her, forward her the picture of the girl we're drawing, I'd really appreciate that.
I would too. Thank you.
Okay, so there's my center line, which is her eye. I'm going to put the letter C on the picture just so I know that means center. Now I'm going to go to the top half, which means from her eye line to the top of her head, right? And then what's up there? The eyebrow and the hairline. I'm going to go from the top down. Her hairline is once, twice, not quite a third. I'd say a little more than a third. And actually from their hairline to the top of her head, it's similar to the eyebrow and the hairline spacing. This is the same as this, pretty much. So I'm going to make sure they're the same on my paper, my drawing, and they are. And that's going to be the top of the eyebrow. So I'm going to put EB for eyebrow, and then HL for hairline. Notice how light, you might not even be able to see it. I'm drawing my little initials just so I can easily see that. Look how quick this goes, guys. So that's the top half. So from the eye line, right, the center of the head is the eye line, down to the chin. Let's see if in that big old space, what do we have to get? We have to get the nose and the mouth. The nose is close to the middle, but it's actually a little bit higher. I'm going to say the nose to eye line is that much, and then we compare it from the nose to chin, and it's about 3/4 of that. And really what that means is that I call that a 60-40, right? Not 50-50, because it's not in the middle of the eye line to chin area. Rather, the nose is a little bit higher than halfway. So I'm going to go to my eye line and my chin, and I'm going to go to what I would just suggest is a 60-40, right? A little higher than halfway. Then I'm going to just check that. I like that. I think that I'm close. And then from the nose line that we just put in to the chin, okay? The mouth line usually lays about 1/3 of the way between the nose and the chin, okay? When you look at the bottom of someone's nose to the chin, in that space, you look down about a third of the way, and that is roughly where the mouth line, in other words, where the two lips meet. And in her case, that distance, again, and again, yeah, it's about a third of the way. And so I'm gonna come over to my drawing. I'm gonna go between my nose and chin. I'm gonna come down a little bit more than a third, but right around a third. Notice that on my paper, I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure you can see the line. They have an angle to them, a similar angle to the angles that I see on her face, okay? All these should be parallel to each other. All these features, the angles that I'm using. Why? Because short of a semi-truck hitting you, there is no way you're gonna have your eye line in this angle and your mouth line in that angle or in that angle. Think about what would physically have to happen to you to have such a severe difference in angles, right? So they're gonna be parallel to each other. So if I got this much of an angle for the eyes, then the bottom of the nose, the mouth, the top of the eyebrows, they all need to be in the same angle or parallel to each other, okay? That's gonna prevent a lot of mistakes. Did you get it now, Laura? Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Laura, did you get the email? No, Laura. Laura, I'm talking to Laura only.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet? Did you get, did anybody email her? If somebody could email her, just yell it out. So I know somebody will. I have no access to email, so I have no way of emailing her. Okay?
Can you type your email in the chat and then I'll send it to you?
Okay, thank you.
Robert, I have a question. I'm going to use Canson paper for this one, but I can't remember what side to use. Do you use the textured side or the smooth one?
The smooth side, the smooth side. That's what I prefer. You can use either one. Remember, the textured side will just hold the material better, but the smooth side just looks nicer. So
Okay,
I like the smoother side. So I've seen people use rulers on the screen and all that. You don't need rulers, okay? You don't need rulers. Remember what I told you? I want you to learn how to use a piece of paper and a pencil. That's it, okay? If you want to use tools, calipers, rulers, whatever, that's your business. The problem is once you start relying on tools, then you will be dependent like a crackhead. You become addicted. You can't work without it, right? And what ends up happening is if I took you on a field trip and we were all going to draw from life, the person that doesn't know how to draw without tools, they will not be able to function. They could not function that day, right? They would just have to sit on their hands and look at the ceiling. They just wouldn't be able to draw because they don't have any real skill. You don't want to start measuring things and taking 1 inch and saying 1 inch, 4 inches, 4 inches. You're doing the world's slowest Xerox machine and probably not a very good one at that. So don't measure as far as numbers, just take proportions and say, well, this is about the same size as that or the same size as that. And I'll continue to do that. Okay, so now I got all the vertical stuff from top to bottom placed that I need, right? We got the nose line, we got the mouth line, the bottom of the chin, eye line, eyebrow, hairline, top of the head. And I like the proportions I'm seeing. I think we're ready to rock. Now, the next step is I'm gonna get the width of her face, okay? I try not to measure all the way to the back of the ear, but you could do that if you wished. If you did do that and you went from, say, the outside of the cheek to all the way to the back of her hair, then that space on your drawing would reflect the inclusion of the ear and the cheek and everything else. I'm gonna go, watch what I'm doing here, because her cheeks, being Asian, they tend to have what they call high cheekbones, right? So I'm gonna go right across the eye line. I was able to say something else, but I'm just gonna go right across the eye line. And I'm gonna go right across to where I see flesh, right there. Let me see if I can use my white, maybe you'll see it better. Right here on the eye line, I'm gonna put a little dot. That's where the flesh is. I'm gonna go all the way across to right where the hair touches, again, across the eye line, where that little sideburn, I guess you'd say, starts, okay? That would be right here. I think better in black. Right there, that little circle. So this is what I'm going to measure, okay, to determine the width of her face. Watch this. I'm going to do it twice. So that way you guys can see how I do it. This is crucial. If you don't figure this out, you're just going to struggle. Watch this. On the floor, I go to the photograph first, and I say she is across the eye line, the 2 points that I said, she's about that big, which is same as, and then I hold my little stick, and I put my fingernail down to her chin, and I look at where the stick lands. It doesn't land on any of those positions or destinations I marked earlier. I'm gonna move up to the mouth line, and then the nose line. And so I'm gonna say it lands between the chin and the stick ends a little bit higher than halfway between the eyebrow line and the eye line. So between the eyebrow and eye line, right here to right here, is equivalent to this width. That's all that I'm saying, right? They're both the same distance. Whatever that is numerically, whatever that is in the world, doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that this, from here to here, it's the same as from here to here. Now, we left off on just below the eyebrow to her chin being the same as the width. So I'm going to find those 2 points over here. Here's my eyebrow. I'm going to go just below it. And here's my chin. I drew a dot right here to represent the space, the area between the eyebrow and eye line. I'm going to take that measurement, and I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to turn it sideways. Now, see how she's looking a little bit that way? I'm going to shift her head a little bit this way on my paper. I could put her in the center, but because she's looking a little that way, I could put her a little bit off center and make it slightly more interesting. Now, my paper's edge over there, so I'm going to put her roughly right here. Okay. That means that. Okay? Now, next, if you're not muted, please mute yourself. I'm getting music in here, and then it'll show up on the video and keep bouncing back and forth. Now, did you get your, just give me a thumbs up, Laura. Did you get your picture? Excellent. Okay, now just print it out and just the same old thing that we always do. Double check your junk mail in the, when you're done with class, because something's going on there because you're included in all of them. So I don't know what happened there, why you didn't get it. All right, so now that we have the width of the face, right? And you'll notice if you were paying attention to what I was saying earlier at the beginning of class, I was using my 6 steps, right? And so now we just did step 4. We're going to step 5 now. We're going to cut up the second dimension, okay? Just trying to kind of connect the dots between what I wrote and what I'm telling you. So now we need to know from left to right what's in there and what's of importance. Well, I always go straight for the eyes. How many eyes across are we? 5. In this case, her head is turned, so that throws all that out the window. We need to basically get measurements from left to right across the eye line here that represent what I have. Now, from left to right, you can say the middle point right here, halfway, is pretty much the tear duct in her left eye. Let me see. It looks to be about halfway. And it is. So from here to here, forget that it's a person. Just see it as a dot and another dot in that line across those two that space. Halfway ends up being the tear duct of her left eye. Can we see the pencil on my stick? Can you see that line that I did for her tear duct? It's right in the middle of those two. Okay? That right there tells you that this is halfway. So now all I got to do is come over here from my right to left dots, I guess, is go to the middle of that. And boom, I now have where the tear duct is. See how I just broke that space down in a logical way, a way that's common sense, that makes, makes things easier to see, because I'm trying to give myself little destinations. Now let's break it up even further. Let's go right from the tear duct of that left eye to the far edge, and let's look at where the 2 eyelids meet. I say roughly it's right there. So it's not quite halfway, it's a little less than halfway. So a little less than halfway in this space is where I'm gonna say is the end of her eye. Somewhere around roughly there. Then I'm gonna go into this space over here from the far dot on the far corner of her face there to this tear duct and say, where's this tear duct? Well, it's about halfway in between my pencil and stick, right? So now I come over here and I find the same two destinations and say about halfway between that, and that becomes the tear duct for that eye. So now I have where one eye is gonna go and where the other eye is gonna go. I'm just gonna do these little egg oval things just so I can know what these spaces mean, okay? So that's roughly giving me, and notice I said roughly, right? It's not exact. And then this edge of this eye is about that big, so I'm gonna go about that big. Notice that her right eye is a little bit smaller this way than her left eye. That's because she's turned away from us. That makes the whole width of this eye, let me take a pencil away. It makes the width of this eye a little bit narrower and smaller because it's turned away from us. This one is pretty much looking at us full on. So we get the entire width of that eye, okay? So this right eye should be a fraction smaller than the left eye. So now I got roughly where that's gonna be. Now let's look at where the nose is. Look at my stick. I just hold it up and I try to stay in the same angle, and it's just left of the right tear duct. So I'm gonna go just a little left of it. And then this nostril is pretty much in line with the tear duct. So I'm gonna put that in line with the tear duct. That's gonna be the bottom of the nose there, and that gives me the width. Now, let's look at the corner, okay? Her right corner of her mouth is pretty much in line with the nostril. If I hold my stick up vertically, the mouth and nostril align with each other. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And now the corner, the left corner of her mouth, I'm gonna just put a plumb line. These are plumb lines, by the way. And look at how it lines up with her left eye. It cuts into about the first third of the eye. So about roughly that much. So I'm gonna go to my left eye, I'm gonna cut about the first third of it, and I'm gonna get that. And there we go. Now I got the left and right of the mouth. And if you've been doing proportions that are relatively close, that are pretty good, you'd be amazed how inaccurate you could be using this method and still be really darn close. Now you can't be off by a full inch, because that's like an entire eye you'd be missing, right? But if you're off just a little bit, you're not super accurate, it still looks like that person. Maxine today showed us a drawing of Mr. Lewis, who passed away a couple days ago, and instantly everyone said, oh, that's that guy that just passed away. It was instant, right? Now, was that the best drawing you've ever seen in your life of that gentleman? Was it photographically accurate? No. But she got so close with her proportions that we all said, oh, yeah, I saw him on the news. I know that guy. Okay? So that's an example of you can be close and that's good enough, okay? So you can be off a little bit or even a lot and it still looks like the individual, okay? Hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of peace of mind. So that is the mouth that I just did. And so now I'm gonna go into, just for the heck of it, you see the wing of the nostril here? It stops right around there. The wing of the nostril, that little wrinkle, it comes up around there. And so how big is this area? Because that way we can decide the height of this nose accurately. Well, I say from the bottom of the nose to this, the height of the wing of the nose, of the nostril, I should say, and then again, it's about a third of the distance between the eye line and the nose. So here's my eye line and nose, it's about a third of the distance, maybe a little bit more than a third. See how I was able to get the height of that nose? By height, I mean just the wings, not the whole entire nose. Now that I got that, I'm gonna start shaping things out roughly. Notice how I hold my pencil, right? You don't see me writing grandma letter. I'm not doing this thing, am I? Because this would give you so much pressure you would never erase any of those lines. They would just be there permanently. So I hold it like this. So it floats in my hand. And so now let's start going into this. Here's the point across the eye line that I had measured to earlier. And so now it goes in from that point and then out from that point to the cheek. And it does an angle. Even though things are rounded, I'll just draw straight lines. Straight lines to just kind of give me a feel for what it is that I'm doing. Like that. Women's chins, here's a little tip. Men, okay, across the chin, the flat part, the bottom flat part of our chin is usually similar or almost exactly the same as the width of our mouth, okay? For men, we have bigger chins. Women have smaller, pointier, rounder chins. And so they're not as flat, but what we would call the bottom is usually smaller than the mouth, okay? So just by knowing that, the next time you draw a woman, you know that the chin is probably going to be a little narrower than her mouth from left to right. So if it's the same as her mouth, you're probably doing a chin that's a little bit too big. Okay, it's too wide. That's just a little mental note for you to remember in the future. Where does this turn happen? And then the flatness of her chin, right? Pretty much where the neck goes into it, right around here, roughly. Where is that? Well, all I'm going to do is shoot a straight plumb line up and down, and it's going to give me, let's see, where does it land? I shoot a plumb line straight up on that neck. It gives me just to the right of the eye, of her right eye, somewhere around there. Now I'm doing something similar to what I see in scale, in shape, and in angle, and in every other way. This was the hair on the side. What's up? How much time? Is the time already?
You're 12:30?
12:30? I thought it was at 1. I always forget, man.
11 to 12:30.
Yeah, it's 12:30. You're right. All right. So I'm just going to shake this out real quick. They're telling me it's time to go. I hope you guys got something out of class. I'm not used to these little 1.5 hour classes. They're usually 3 hour classes that I do. So they'll be twice as long. Oh, she left. So I'm just doing one more. So right here, look at the hairline. Where does it part? Right there. I drop a vertical line. Make sure my stick is vertical and it's similar and parallel to the edge of the paper. And it cuts across the nose a little bit on the inside of the nostril, which roughly puts it right there. And now I know where the part in the hair goes. All right. So what we're going to do is we'll work on her next week, just like we did on the gentleman. Okay. So work on something else, okay, that we will work on her in class. And if you have any questions, okay, whatsoever, throughout the week, you forgot something or whatever, you didn't get an email, Laura, you can't find this picture or whatever, send me an email with your questions. I'll do my best to answer them quickly. I'm going to finish the old guy that we were working on and make a separate video on my own, and I'll post that online, and then I will edit and do my thing to this video, and I will post this video online. So just give me a day or two, because I got to literally download all this crap. It takes a long time for it to go from my email to my computer, or from my phone to my computer, and then the editing. It's just very time consuming. So I'll probably be done with it maybe tomorrow or something, maybe tomorrow evening. We'll work on as much as I can. So I hope you guys got something out of class. I hope you got motivation and you saw all the possibilities with the different colored papers and the different things that I teach for future classes, something to look forward to. If I remember, I'll try to bring in a sample of a pastel so you can see what I teach in my pastel workshop. And for those of you that are taking my workshop, bring in a piece so we can show it to them. I like showing people what other students have done. And again, work on something else besides her so we can do a quick critique in the morning, a real fast one. Just, your grandkid, whatever. And then we'll keep working on her next week and try to finish her up or get as far as we can. Okay? All right. God bless, guys. It was awesome. I had a great time. It was fun seeing all you guys, Susan and Jen and Katie and everybody else, and all kinds of dumb stuff coming up, and Annie and Tuck and Norma and Bethany.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
Awesome.
Thanks, Robert.
Emails, and let me know what's up.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good week.
You too.
Good job, Rob. Thanks, man.
My pleasure, my friends.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
Robert.
thank you. Thank you from Bethany.
All right. Lunchtime, baby. I'm hungry.
Okay, you gotta end the meeting. You have to end the meeting here.
How do I do that?
So you're here, right? So
Uh-huh.
you're just gonna go end.